All right, and while you guys are joining, I'm going to go ahead and share this out. It's telling me it's going to cut me off. I'm here, Facebook, I'm live. When you schedule these posts on Facebook, you have to be on by a certain time or it cancels you and that sort of thing. So as I'm sharing that out, I am going to start giving you guys a recap of last night. Last night, I basically shared my own experience of struggling with everything from constipation to anemia. Make sure I've got good lighting here. All right, good. One of the things that I have learned is that it's all related. Like there's so many things that we deal with that are tied to our, it's a big, big deal. So if you're not pooping on a regular basis, at least once a day, optimal would be 30 minutes after every meal, which can take a long time to get there, then it's going to cause some real problems. And that's what I was sharing with you guys yesterday, which was, all right, good. This is coming up now, so I can go ahead and share it. What I was sharing with you guys yesterday is that whatever it takes to get it out, because it is affecting your, hold on a second. So clearly, I think I can do two things at once. All right. So it's affecting your body's ability to absorb nutrients. And that's what was hurting me in terms of my iron, is that I'm eating iron-rich foods, but my body wasn't getting the nutrients in. And I have that in my notes to talk about a little bit tonight, but I also wanted to just repeat where I was yesterday. So now my iron has actually come up a few points because I've been able to cleanse enough, and I've made enough changes to finally see a difference there. I'm trying to get, where is the best? Okay. All right. So I think that's as good as I can get with my lighting here. So I thank you guys for coming on tonight. And if nothing else, I want to make sure y'all go to the bathroom more and become more obsessed with it. But let me start where I did not start with yesterday. And that's number one. I'm Coach K. I teach women of faith how to get their life back together, not just diet, but also lifestyle and full life balance, how to feel good, how to have increased self-confidence about themselves. I lost 65 pounds or over 60 pounds, depending on the day, myself by changing to a plant-based high alkaline diet. And that enabled me to just release weight. I really didn't do a ton of exercise, although fitness is something I'm always mindful of. However, for me, it was mainly just letting go of the acidic, inflaming foods that were eating me from the inside out. And I had bloating. I was pre-diabetic, which is basically the same thing as diabetic. And I have two devices on, you guys. That's why I'm looking up and down. But I was basically pre-diabetic or diabetic, and I was starting to have all kinds of health issues. This is what happens, especially after we hit our 40s. All that stuff we did in our 20s starts to come back, or the chickens come home to roost, as they say. And so that's what started happening to me. And when I dropped the weight, all of those conditions started slowly reversing, but it took time. And so now I coach others to be able to get their own health together, but not just your physical health, your mind as well. If you clean your diet up, but you're still in a toxic relationship or a toxic work environment, or you're still a toxic person on the inside yourself, you are not really well. And so what we seek is total wellness in every single area, spiritually, financially, emotionally, in our relationships, in our ability to connect with other people and all that. So tonight, though, we're talking about cleaning you out, right, from the bottom. Okay, she had a smoothie for breakfast and vegan kale salad, and 2 times already to the bathroom. All right, that means your GI tract is like, bloop, bloop, bloop. We got it going on. So Dr. Flavor, that did not happen for me. I would do a raw cleanse and still not be going to the bathroom. And that's how I knew that I was seriously backed up, that I was doing plant-based and still wasn't making any headway. which is why we have to realize that we are our own scientists. So my second disclaimer for tonight is I'm sharing this information with you from my own research. Besides urging you to go to the bathroom more, my second goal with this series and everything I do is to get you to be your own researcher. Do your own research on your body, please. Everything that I'm going to share with you, I researched and found you can do the same thing. I don't have to be an MD to share this information. I expect you to fact check me. And as I keep doing teaching, because next year I'll be doing a whole series of classes, what I also want to do is share information with you about a variety of things just to pique your interest so you go and find out more on your own and then test and apply to your body. There are easy ways to do that are safe. Although with all things, you should talk to your doctor first, especially if you have serious medical issues or you're taking a lot of prescription medication. Any herbs I mentioned tonight, you need to heavily research them yourself as well as discuss it with your doctor, okay? That's totally up to you. So let me go ahead and jump right in. Okay, like I mentioned, I changed my diet to high alkaline foods and left the acidic foods alone, all right? Acidic foods being most of what most of us are eating. Meat, dairy, sugar, wheat. Meat, dairy, sugar, wheat. Let's say it together. Meat, dairy, sugar, wheat. I am not in the business of coaching people to do or not do what they don't want to do, but you can do your own research on alkaline forming foods, foods that are healing to the body, and foods that are burning to the body, and foods that are high in acid. If you, let's say you know a food is acidic, but you can't give it up all the way, just be intentional about at least reducing, so that you're reducing the amount of acidic ash in your system, okay? Hey, Rochelle, so you don't want to give up all the way, but you can just bring it in a little bit more and make sure that you're eating less of that. Oh, hi, Auntie. That must be a niece or nephew. Thomas, that's so funny. So that applies to you, too. You tell my other great nephew, get off those hot Cheetos. I'm coming for him next. He already knows. I'll be like, please. I'm like, please eat a salad. Okay, yeah, so with yours, I'm going to get to you. Your bowels are stubborn, too. I'm telling you. I know what it takes, but it's hard to stick with it, y'all. It's really hard to stick with it, so I can relate. All right, here is what acidic foods do to your bowels, okay? They inflame and weaken the structure of your bowels and your GI tract. Constant coming with the acidic stuff starts to inflame your GI. When your GI is inflamed, it shows up, for example, in IBS. A lot of people get IBS and think that they need a prescription medication when what they really need is a change in diet, all right? They need to switch their diet out and get the alkaline forming foods in there, and you'll be surprised how quickly your system will calm down. I promise you on that. You don't even have to do herbs right away. If you just change your diet, your GI tract inflammation will reduce a lot on its own. So the other thing acidic foods do to the bowels, many foods act like a glue and stick to the walls inside your bowel. So I don't have a picture of it here, although I should. Maybe by tomorrow I'll print that out. Where the GI tract goes, let's pretend this is a circle like I was explaining yesterday. All right. Some of the things that you're eating, your body can't break it down, and it's just stuck to these walls. And the more that builds up, the harder it is when you're eating something right. I'm sorry, this looks a little perverted, but it's your body. But the harder it is for that food to get through, it's stuck. And that's where constipation goes. That's right, Charlene. Poop matters. Let's tell the world. Look, I'm not going to be TMI about this anymore because disease begins in the colon with your gut health, and people are dying. So they could be taking all the good stuff they want, but if it can't get through into the cells, then you're not healing. You're not getting any better, all right? Then next, so many foods, other foods are abrasive and cause excessive mucus to be produced from the intestinal walls to protect itself. Listen to me, guys. Your body wants to heal. Your body is fighting for you every day, so much harder than you're fighting for yourself. As I've been researching this, my mind is just blown at how good God is, that he knew in his infinite wisdom that we would not always make the best choices. Or some of us would just drop dead as soon as we eat something that we shouldn't eat. He knew we wouldn't always make the best choices. And so he gave us, there's built-in stuff within the body to protect you from yourself. I'm excited about that. I'm sad about how much I've abused my temple over the past 4 decades. I should say 3, because I think I can blame my parents for the first part, right? Or maybe I'll just say 2 decades since I was in my 20s, because I was raised eating healthy. And so I can't blame my parents, which a lot of people's kids are going to be blaming them in another 10 years, especially with this current food situation. But nevertheless, the abuse that I put my body through, our Savior in his loving mercy put stuff in our bodies to help us fight. So basically, the intestinal walls are protecting themselves by producing excessive mucus, trying to save your life, in a nutshell, all right? And unfortunately, this is what causes proper nutrition to be blocked from breaking through to get where it needs to go into the cells. All right. Dr. Flavor says sugar literally makes her sick, mucus, and headaches. Yes. That's why I can't do. And I have had, okay, I told you guys I've been sugar clean for 2 years. I have had some sugar. I've had just a little bit here and there, like a piece of something. I had a headache immediately. I just didn't feel well. But I think it's because I don't really have it in my system at all. That's how you can tell. If you just go 30 days clean, I promise you, as soon as you put something back in your body, you will know exactly how your body feels about it. Trust me on that. All right. So I want to talk to you guys about constipation versus diarrhea. But first, let me tell you about what the name is, because I want someone on here to research this term before we come back together tomorrow night. And it is called mucoid plaque. Let me see if I can type that in down here. I can't type it in on IG up there. Okay, mucoid plaque, MUCOID plaque, which is mainly a byproduct of refined starches, sugar, and dairy, all built up along the lines of your intestinal walls. I talked to you guys about that glue-like substance before, but the name that's used by many holistic practitioners is mucoid plaque. Now, there's a lot of controversy out there about mucoid plaque. That's why I want you to look it up for yourselves, okay? Most, I don't want to say most, let me stop using words like that. A lot of MDs will tell you that it's not a real thing, or some MDs will say it's not a real thing. Naturopaths, on the other hand, will tell you it is a very real thing, okay? But it's something that you should look up for yourself, and also if you do a good cleanse, that will tell you. I'll add in this one caveat, though, and this is based on what I found. I want you to study it for yourself. Some of these cleanses will tell you to take a combination of bentonite clay, and I can't remember the other substance, but it's mainly the bentonite clay. What's happening is, based on what I've read, a lot of people who are doing this cleanse with this bentonite clay, they're pooping stuff out, and they think that they post pictures. These pictures are everywhere, you guys. It's like, I got the mucoid plaque out, and it's really, according to other medical professionals, that's just the bentonite clay that clumped together in the body and came out undigested. They didn't actually get rid of any plaque. The best way to get rid of the plaque buildup, a raw diet, okay? It's doing a raw diet that's very light on the system, so you give your body a chance to get rid of all of that backed up, built up plaque that's lining the walls. But it does take time. There are some herbs that you can take in combination to kind of get it moving a little faster. And that's as deep as we're going to go on that for now. All right. So wait a minute. Somebody had, Charlene, is that also known as biofilm? I am not sure. I'm not sure if I've never heard that term before. Yeah, so Charlene is talking about the CB cleanse will tell you otherwise mucus comes out of everywhere. I never experienced this whole mucus coming from everywhere thing like a lot of people have. I've just never had it, but I've noticed that I will have some from the nose and things like that. But I just didn't. I just have never had like this mucus everywhere. And what happens is when you first switch your diet, especially if you're in some of these Facebook groups, everybody else is having, or other people are having these results that you're just not having. That's why bio-individuality matters. I may get certain symptoms. I may detox hard and have flu-like symptoms for 3 days. You might feel just fine. It's different for everybody. Everybody is different. And so you have to make sure that you are not measuring yourself against other people, because you and another person could eat a similar diet, but there's genetic and environmental factors and other things going on that cause you to have totally different inflammatory reactions because your bodies are different. Okay. So constipation versus diarrhea. All right. So, this is some scary stuff, all right, that I found out in my research. Now, you may eliminate every day, but just because you, and I hope y'all all pooped this morning. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands if you did. I did. I was very excited about it. I get excited every time. Sometimes I don't even have to drink the water first. But if you drink the water first, the pooping will be much easier. You're giving your body some liquid to help things move and come out. So you definitely want to get the water in the morning anyway. All right. However, this is what I found out, y'all. Today is Tuesday. You may have pooped on Tuesday, and that food was from Saturday or Sunday. Or last Thursday. It depends on how long it's been since you last, or how long it takes, and what's going on in your GI tract determines how long it takes you to let go of the stool. It is very unlikely that when you poop in the morning, which is what I used to think, you poop in the morning, you're pooping out what you ate the day before. Most people, their GI is not working that well, like it should. That's ideal, but that's not what's happening for most people. All right. The average travel time for stool should be 12 to 18 hours or less. People who are constipated have stool that's been sitting for 90 hours or more. So that's like 3 or 4 days. Now, one other thing, and again, research constipation from a variety of sources. A lot of people have constipation, but they don't think they're constipated because they're not in severe stomach pain or they're not really symptomatic yet. If it's been 2 days and you have not had an elimination, you are constipated. You need to get more fruit in your diet. You need to get more apples in your diet with the peel on and get that fiber intake up. You need to slow down on meat and grains and dairy until things get moving again. And then you need to monitor. If you put that acidic food back in and the constipation returns, maybe you just can't have that, boo. What did we want, right? So here's a way to test. All right. I hope you guys, or you can come back and watch this if you don't have a pen and paper handy, but I want you guys to be willing to do this test on your own, test a stool test, let's call it that, at home, and determine how long it takes you from when you ate on Sunday. How long is it taking this stool to move through your system? And there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can take charcoal tablets. So you would take like 10 charcoal tablets. And that should make your stool turn black. So then you would be able to see how long is it from the time I took the charcoal tablets until my stool turned black. You can do the same thing with beets. Your stool would turn red with beets. And you can do the same thing even with, say, sesame seeds, because sesame seeds are pretty much, we're not really chewing them. I just had some with my salad tonight. You're just eating it and it's going straight down, straight on through the body, pretty much undigested. So, which when I read that, I thought, okay, I need to start grinding mine up because sesame seeds are very high in calcium. And if you can't really chew them well because they're so small, I need to grind mine up and sprinkle them out in powder form. That's a whole nother topic. But sesame seeds, charcoal to make your stool turn black, or beets to make your stool turn red. And then you would be able to time how long it takes things to move through your GI tract. That's a good thing to know. All right. Not just in terms of measuring constipation, but just so you know how long it takes foods to cycle through, especially if you were measuring like what was on your plate, what did you have that day in addition to the charcoal. It just depends on how deep do you want to go in this thing, because then you could say, okay, when I eat this food, I can tell that it takes like 4 days to go through my system, so I don't want to have that anymore. But if I have this item instead, you know, that comes out within the 12 to 18-hour window that I mentioned. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Oh, she's going to do that. Yay. Somebody's going to do a stool test. Speaking of which, you guys, and this is not a topic we can get in deep on today, but you know, if you can find a naturopath or somewhere where you can go and have your actual stool tested, I would strongly urge you to do that, because you could find out so much about your health and your body, and you know, if there are parasites present or leaky gut symptoms, all kinds of things, by having your stool tested. And I know it sounds crazy because we're not acculturated that way. I wish that when you went in for a physical, wouldn't it be great? They draw your urine. You know, sometimes you don't even know what are they checking it for. It would be really nice if they said, we want you to do this stool test, because disease begins in your stool and in your colon. All right, so let's see here. So if you are struggling with diarrhea, that means that you're going 3 to 6 times a day. And the biggest problem with diarrhea is that it's showing you that what you ate went through your system so fast, your body didn't even absorb the water. That's why diarrhea leads to dehydration, okay? So not only did your body not get the water, it got absolutely no nutrients into the small intestine from the food that you ate. And, you know, you're constantly, you're pulling in water, but it's going right back out. So that's something that you definitely would want to get corrected. If you're doing that 3 to 6 times a day, that is a symptom of irritable bowel syndrome. And that basically shows you that you have inflammation, okay? So let me give you some quick herbs that you can take just for general bowel treatment. These are not herbs that you would want to take for a long period of time. This is a short-term fix. So by short term, I would say maybe less than a week. Monitor yourself and kind of see how you're feeling. I actually have all but one of these in my cabinet. Dry herbs, you can keep them in the cabinet all the time. And these will help to firm up your stools. They also reduce toxicity and inflammation. And that is slippery elm bark, marshmallow root, and or chamomile. So very mild to help soothe the intestinal tissues and your GI tract. And what you would do is you're going to make a tea using 1 cup of water to 1 teaspoon of the herb. So 1 cup water to 1 teaspoon of herb. Boil it for 8 minutes and then let it steep for another 5 minutes after that. Then you strain it and drink. The best way to drink it is with no sweetener or nothing added to it, just so that the herb can get into assimilating your body in the purest form possible. If you don't like the taste, which these are pretty mild, it's not like they're not like strong like some of the other colon cleansing herbs, I would just chug it on down. Let it cool off. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be warm. So let it cool all the way off and just chug it down. Treat it like medicine. It's medicinal. All right. So ultimately, food, though, is what provides long-term healing. You're going to get much more bang for your buck by making the dietary changes, because if you make this tea potion and you drink it for you know, and you're feeling better, but then you go back and reintroduce the acidic foods, you're right back where you started. Like you haven't really accomplished anything. And there may be some things that you guys love that, you know, after you get your body all the way back together, you could have it in moderation, small doses here and there. But I really don't want you to approach it with that mindset. I want you to approach it from a place of, this is what my body wants. I am eating to live. I am looking to live the best life I possibly can, free of pain, free of discomfort, without abusing my body and violating myself. So there's some mindset principles tied around all of this. And that's why in the rebirth experience, I really I'm trying to do it in a more subliminal way, but focus a lot more on mindset and a lot less on recipes. Everybody wants recipes, and you do need them. You need to know what to prepare. But if you don't have the right mindset, just like Proverbs says, shall a dog return to his vomit? That's exactly what you will do, because you're not here. You're not sold here. You don't understand your body. You don't understand how your body works and why it needs certain things. And so therefore, you are more likely to just reintroduce the same poisons that made you sick in the first place. Okay? All right. So let me see if I had anything else here that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Let me give you a couple of doctors, an ND and an MD, that you can look up. I would love for you guys to look these folks up and get a hold to their hot information. And that is Dr. Robert Morse. He has a ton of YouTube videos that, you know, my business partner, she says she can't watch him because he's kooky. He's very kooky. But you can listen to what he says and you can research it on your own, and you'll find you'll be able to back up a lot of his teaching. So I very much enjoy him. And he has several books and things that he's written too. And another is Dr. Elizabeth or Liz Lipski, Lipski. She is a specialist in bowel, gastrointestinal issues and diseases. She, in a podcast I was listening to, was talking about the connection between your GI tract, your colon health, and cancers, especially in women. And how, you know, she tied it all in with estrogen. I can't even go into that right now, but it was totally fascinating. So I hope that I've urged you guys to look these things up, to dig more into your colon health, to start paying more attention to your stools. Later this week, I haven't decided exactly where we're going yet tomorrow, but I do want to talk to you guys about what your stool should actually look like. Nobody wants to look back there, but you kind of do need to look back there sometimes so that you can figure out what is going on, what's digested, what's not. Ideally, let me just tell y'all though real quick what a good poop is. A really good poop is when you sit down on the toilet and it comes out in one long stream beautifully. No forcing, no straining, none of that. You sit down, it's ready, and it just comes out, and there's a lot in there. Like, you should be so excited, because when that does not happen, that means that it is sitting in your gut, getting back reabsorbed into your body, because your body's trying to recycle. Our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made. Your body's like, bet, if something's here, I'm going to try to use it. I don't care if it's a steak, macaroni and cheese, or a Krispy Kreme donut. I'm going to try to use this thing. And so that also has a negative reaction, because your body's trying to reabsorb something that it needs to be getting rid of, but it can't because it's blocked, right? So please, 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 start tracking your bowel movements. Start making sure that if you notice that you're constipated or that you're straining in any way, that's a clear sign you need to increase your fruit intake. Like I told you guys yesterday, start with water in the morning and then fruit. Either whole cut up fruit or a fruit smoothie, and just get in as much fruit as you possibly can. Let that fruit digest for 20 to 30 minutes before you eat anything else. So please, what I do in my house when I do the baked goods and stuff on the weekends, or if I do happen to have some during the week, what I do is I have my fruit smoothie. I make that first, and then I drink that while I'm preparing the other food, okay? And that way, I make sure that fruit has fully digested through my system before I turn around and put more food in on top of it, okay? So I hope this was helpful tonight. Keep in mind, like I said, that anybody who has attended and can give me the tips from all this week on Friday, I will be opening up the GI Cleanse for January for registration, and you'll get 50% off, boop, and it includes a whole meal plan, a guidebook, protocol. There's a whole lot of stuff that's included in there that is going to help you get your GI tract together. You shouldn't even be doing any other cleanses or detoxes until you have detoxed your colon. If you do a parasite cleanse first and you haven't done your colon, it's not going to work, because you're too impacted in your gastrointestinal tract to be able to get to the parasites and get any of that taken care of. You got to get the inflammation down and get it all cleaned out before one or the other. Okay, so what tips for tonight? What did I? Oh, the tip for tonight is that I want you to track your elimination. I gave you one other. Did I write it down? I gave you one other. Look, you could look up Dr. Elizabeth Lipsky and Dr. Morse. The tip that I gave you, yes, it was about how you can track. Now, you're not going to have this by tomorrow, but just figure out for yourself, how do you want to track how long it takes food to travel through your stool, okay? So the 3 ways that I gave you, the easiest one is probably going to be the beets, just because that's the fastest thing that you could get from somewhere. And so if you don't like beets, though, then you could do activated charcoal, and you could do couple tablespoons of that, like 10 tablespoons, or you could do some activated, the powder, mix it with some water, shake it up and drink it. It's tasteless, it has no taste, and see how long it takes for your stool to turn black. If you have activated charcoal, it should turn your stool black. That tells you that it's working and it came through your system. And then also sesame seeds, because they won't be fully digested. Most likely, most of us are not able to chew those up and swallow them all the way. And so what will happen is they'll come out in your stool. It should take 12 to 18 hours maximum for food to come through from your mouth out the other end. But if you are severely constipated, it could be 90 hours or more, which is like 3 or more days long. And that lets you know. Okay, yeah, then Charlene mentioned the mucoid plaque. So I'm sorry, you guys, but I wanted to make sure that that gave you guys a stool test that you could do for yourself. And then I did ask you, I did tell you that you can look up mucoid plaque. I wanted you to research that for yourself. I wouldn't really call that there's no tip for that. It's just that that's a very common term you will hear, and there is what I believe to be some misinformation out there about mucoid plaque and how to treat it. You'll see videos on using bentonite clay, but then there's other research that says when people poop out what they say is mucoid plaque, it's actually the bentonite clay. So you need to look for yourself and make your own decision about which one you choose to believe. When I read that, I was like, that makes sense to me. I believe in mucoid plaque, but I don't believe that bentonite clay. I don't think you can't do 2 decades worth of damage to yourself and then do a 7-day cleanse and think you're going to be healed. Like, it doesn't work like that, okay? Healing is a process that takes time, period. There are no shortcuts, and frankly, we shouldn't even expect shortcuts. If you've been abusing your body for 20 years, if it does get better in a year, well, then praise God, you know? But for the most part, though, it's going to take you some time. It could take several years, and it's going to take you several years because most of y'all are not going to be perfect. You're not going to, if you were to go on a 100% all raw high fruit diet from now, it would still take you a good year to get your system cleaned out. And most of y'all ain't willing to go that hard in the paint. I know, because I can't even go that hard in the paint yet. So because you know that you're going to kind of cycle up and down, you're going to cleanse a couple times a year. There's going to be times where you still have cooked food or maybe even some foods that you shouldn't have. It's going to take time, but you still need to be persistent and keep like pressing toward the mark, as the word says. Okay. So yeah, so your tip was to research mucoid plaque, and then also I gave you guys the stool test on 2 doctors that you could review. I will come in. I don't think I can do this on IG. I don't think I can come back and type in on this live. This is only my 2nd time doing IG live. But for those of you, if you're on IG, you need to come to Coach K's Healthy Living as well on Facebook, because that's where I do post a lot of things while I'm still building up my IG audience. But on Coach K's, in the comments, I will relist several of these tips so that you guys have them, okay? So there's going to be no excuses, ladies and gentlemen, to get these colons together. I promise you, you'll feel so much better. Some of y'all are walking around dizzy as all get out, and it's because you're backed up, period. Even if you're going every day, if you're still dizzy, something is still wrong, all right? So, and make sure you're drinking your water first thing in the morning. I shared that with you yesterday, all right? Thank you guys for coming. I will share in the morning and let you all know what time is going to be between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern. I have to pick up my daughter in the evening from her basketball situation, so I can't always get on at exactly the same time. Cleanse registration is opening on Friday, Ebony. Now, truth be told, the registration page is already there on caraashburn.com, 21 day. However, those who are in RBE are receiving different discounts based on their level of membership, and I don't have your coupon code yet. Okay, so I would suggest you wait unless you just want to do the whole 197, which you can, praise the Lord. But if you want to wait on your coupon code, then give me another day or so, and I will go ahead and get that done for you guys. All right, so did I miss any questions? I don't think so. Those of you who are joining late, listen, make sure you guys share this. I don't say that enough. I'm my own worst marketer, but please share this information. People need it. It's already out there. Now, I'm not really sharing anything new, you guys. Repetition deepens the impression, though, and there are people who listen to me that may not have heard of these other resources. So do go ahead and share this video so that your loved ones can get focused on getting their colon together. There's a reason why the old folks would be obsessed with those bowel movements, because they knew that that's where health lies, in your digestive tract. All right, we're going to get it together. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank you guys for joining tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.